All right, welcome back. Welcome back, kings and queens. We are back and we are talking Luigi Mangione, officially charged with the murder of Brian Thompson, CEO for United Healthcare Corporation. Um, man, oh man, oh man. I'm gonna try not to be all over the place with this one. I have so many questions. This just seems too good to be true. It's right in the nick of it's right in the nick of time. Right before January 6th, right before the holidays, that the feds were able to wrap this thing up, put a bow on it, and stamp it and sign it, seal it, and deliver it. But yeah, Luigi Mangione has been charged with one count of murder, two counts of second degree criminal possession of a weapon, one count of second degree possession of a forged document, and one count of third degree criminal possession of a firearm. This comes directly from CNN reports, you all. Do you think that this is the right guy? That's the first question. Do you think? Because the American public seems to be torn. The public opinion is most people saying it's not him. It's not him. The pictures don't match. The photos don't match. Is that even important? Number one. Number two, if it is him, do you believe he acted alone? Do you feel or do you have any suspicion that this could have possibly been a hit for hire? A hit for hire. Is this 26-year-old really that clever to come into New York City 10 days prior to the arrival of the CEO, know exactly what door he was coming, what hotel he was staying at, exactly what door he would be walking into, exactly what time he would be leaving his room to arrive. I mean, it is just avoid cameras everywhere and then get so sloppy when he gets back to Pennsylvania and get caught in a McDonald's? Does this add up to you? Because it's not making sense to me. But let's get into the gist of it all. Luigi Mangione, he has had an opportunity to speak with the judge and he laid it all out there. He says he has no drug use or any mental health issues. I have a funny feeling and a sneaky suspicion that he was very loud and very clear to make certain that the American public is aware that, listen, I don't use drugs. I don't have a mental health issue because this is what I think. Just in case I quote unquote happen to take my own life, you know that I had no such history of drug use and or mental health diagnosis. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think that's why he emphasized to the judge, nope, I don't use drugs and I do not have any mental health illnesses or mental health needs. What are your thoughts? So he did have a chance to speak with the judge and answer questions that the judge had for him. And there's two things that he needed to correct the judge on, and he refuted. Number one, the backpack. Now, I thought they said they found the backpack in New York. So what's being reported is the prosecutors are accusing him of having a backpack that could interfere, basically, almost like a, what do they call it? A, a scrambler. I could be saying it wrong. That they were saying that his backpack could inhibit any wire transmission where they could pick up cell phone signals. And he's like, what? He told the judge, no. And I'm not using his direct words. Basically, he refuted that and said, this is a weatherproof backpack. Number one, you got that wrong. Number two, he had $8,000 on him. And he said, listen, I've answered all of your questions truthfully and honestly, but let me tell you something. That's not my money. I don't know if you planted that. I don't know where that money came from. The silencer, yes, it belongs to me. The gun, yeah, that belongs to me. All of this other stuff, yes. But the money, that does not belong to me. That was planted. So he took issue with that. He took issue and he refuted the backpack being sophisticated, that it would block any cell phone transmittal. And also he said, that's not my money. Y'all planted that on me. That's not my money. Y'all, this thing is about to get really deep. Really deep. Hold on. Now, when I initially heard that Luigi was captured, keep in mind, we still don't know if he's guilty of this. We don't know if he's a fall guy. We don't know anything because this has not gone to trial yet. All we know is what we are being told and what we are being fed by the media. Okay. By the media and different reports that are coming from law enforcement agencies. Who can you trust in this situation? As an individual, who do you feel like you can mostly rely on? News media, law enforcement. Do you feel like any of these people are being honest? Do you feel like a picture is being painted? And if so, what picture and why? Okay. I still have not been able to figure out, nor have they been able to fill in the gaps for me to explain how does any of this lead back and tie back to CEO Brian Thompson. Now, what I have discovered is Luigi Mangione and the CEO Brian Thompson actually have quite a few similarities in common. And I'll try to get to those. If I don't get to those in this segment, I'll come back later. They have a lot of things in common. So how does the road of the manifesto, how does the road of all of this particularly lead to Brian Thompson of all people? That if this is true and if this is indeed the killer, why Brian Thompson? And to me, they're telling us everything else except that. He could have taken any life, if he's indeed the killer, of any CEO, any C-suite executive. How come you guys, as law enforcement and media outlets, how come you're skating around what directly connects and ties him to Brian Thompson? Is that something that you haven't figured out? Or is that something that you feel like is none of our damn business and you just don't want us to know? Because then that would open up a can of worms. I don't know. These are questions that still not have been answered. Okay. Now this is when I learned that this young man was caught and that he was a suspect, I'm like, are you kidding me? He's young. He has his entire life ahead of him. What in the world is going on? This is really hard to digest and swallow, but hey, it is what it is. And why would you be so careful and so strategic with every single detail and then walk your behind in a McDonald's and sit down and think you wouldn't get caught? That just didn't make sense to me. But let me just share the photo with you. Here is the photo of Luigi Mangione allegedly in McDonald's, which caused the employee to call law enforcement because that employee felt like he looked suspicious. Okay. Now, Luigi, this photo is given every bit of suspicion. This photo is given every bit of who in the hell is this guy? Did you want to get caught or were you instructed to get caught? That's the $1,000,000 question. Is it above you? Are you doing what you were paid to do? My husband feels like money has already exchanged hands and and the deal has already been made. You're going to sit out for a while. You're 26. You're the perfect fall guy for this. You're going to get enough time, but you're also going to be released in enough time that you can completely start your life all over again. I don't know if this is true, but this is just what my husband was sharing with me. You've been paid a pretty handsome amount and you'll be fine. You're young enough. You're smart enough. The American people are going to love you. That's why we picked you. Do you feel like this guy worked alone? Do you feel like this is even the right guy? Or do you feel like someone on top sent him? What the hell did Brian Thompson do? I ran it down to you. I know he cashed in his money. He basically he stole from the investors. He and his greedy friends, okay? That still does not justify the taking of his life, the senseless murder, okay? But the fact of the matter is, you mean to tell me this 26-year-old had more of a vendetta with Brian Thompson than that of an investor who lost investors, a group of investors who lost $25 billion because of Brian's greed? He and two other C-suite executives who made out with over $120 million, and they did not let the investors know. They took their piece of the pie, their slice of the pie, and they hit the street running, denied any involvement in inside trading, didn't even have enough respect for the investors to let them know, hey, we're under investigation. We're under investigation for violating antitrust laws. So you mean to tell me an Ivy League 26-year-old sitting at home, broke as hell, would have more of a vendetta with Brian Thompson than an investor? Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Hold on. Get the hell out of here. Well, according to law enforcement, Luigi's full manifesto has been revealed, stating it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. You know what? I don't know if he wrote it. At this point, y'all can put anything in front of us. And I'm not saying he did or he don't, but at this point, who do you trust? Because y'all aren't talking enough about that lawsuit against United. You're not talking about the investigation. You're not talking about the audits. You're not talking about the inside trading. You're not talking about any of that. And I feel like you're purposely trying to pull us away from something that you do not want us to focus on. Okay. But I'm going to keep myself disciplined and I'm going to keep my eyes on the prize. And I encourage you all to do the same. Before I share bits and pieces of the manifesto, let's check out the video. Here's the video of Luigi speaking to the cameras. Let's take a look.
Don't.
Luigi. Oh my God! That is completely out of touch, and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and lived experience.
Don't.
Luigi. Oh my God! That is completely out of touch, and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and lived experience.
In this video, Luigi Mangione can be heard shouting, "You're completely out of touch." And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and their lived experience. You're completely out of touch. And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and their lived experience. Is he talking about the healthcare system? Or is this way, or could this be his way of saying I'm being framed? Or it's bigger than me? It's bigger than me. And what you're doing today, right now with me, is an insult. I don't know, y'all, to the intelligence of the American people. What's really going on between the government and the healthcare system? That's the bigger question. That's the billion-dollar question. Okay. And why did it cause Brian Thompson to lose his life? Because Brian Thompson, I'm going to scream it from the mountaintops, got the smaller piece of the share. He got the smaller piece of the share of the pie when they decided to steal from those billion-dollar investors, okay? And not only did he get the smaller piece of the pie, it was his first time ever, according to news reports, cashing in his United stock. Now, keep in mind, he's been with United or was with United for over 20 years, okay? And his first time cashing in his stock, he took home the smallest piece of the pie for $15 million. Why was he a target? Wouldn't you think they would go after the other one? But you know what? Hold on. Let me hold my horses. Let's talk about it. Because if this is true, the alleged manifesto of Luigi Mangione released claims large corporations abuse our country for profit. Of course, that's a fact. That's not a lie. It's not even specific to healthcare corporations. Can we all agree that we do have this thing called American greed? Isn't there a TV show on this? Okay, large corporations abuse our country for profit and have been allowed to get away with it. The US has the number one most expensive healthcare in the world and rank number 42 in life expectancy. Make it make sense. You pay the most money for healthcare coverage, but we are ranked number 42 in the world in life expectancy. Baby, you dying quicker than a bag of popcorn that you put in the microwave to pop. We are dying quick, fast, and in a hurry. I don't care how long or how long you think your lifespan should be or how healthy you think you are. According to other countries around the world, our lifespan is extremely short. How does that make you feel? Come a little bit closer. Let's talk about it. Also in this manifesto, it claims allegedly that Luigi wrote, these parasites simply had it coming. To the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, a lot of patience. What's CAD, you guys? C, capital A, capital D. I don't like pretending to be what I'm not. I don't know everything. So somebody let me know what CAD is, okay? He says basic CAD, a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate, the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. There's something that stood out to me. If this is true that he wrote this, he said the spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes. Who would have taken it? If he worked alone by himself, and if this is not a hired hit, and like he says, hold on. Oh, I haven't gotten to that part. Oh, yes, he did. He said, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. Then who would take your notebook? Is that a clue? I need to say what I need to say so that the big boys don't put a price on my head like they did Brian Thompson. But hey, that notebook, if it's still there, who would take it? Why would it not be there? If nobody knows about this but you, and you left your notebook where it is, why would it not be there? I don't know. That just stood out to me. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it had to be done. Why, Brian Thompson? Listen to this. Let me go back. It had to be done. But if you go back, when he says the US has the number one most expensive healthcare in the world and ranked number 42 in life expectancy, these parasites, that's plural. Parasites is plural. Brian Thompson is one individual. If we go back, now we go back. I do apologize for any strife or trauma, but it had to be done. Is it done? Were there more? Have they been taken care of? Or did you just not make it down a list? Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. Parasites. A reminder. Okay, we went over that. Okay. Hold on, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. It goes on to read, United is the largest company in the US by market cap. Okay, now we're getting into numbers. And for those of you that do not know, or if you're not familiar with Luigi's background, he's a numbers guy. He's a finance guy. He majored in finance. He and Brian Thompson have a lot of similarities. Brian Thompson was a numbers guy, but let's keep going. He said United is the largest company in the US. He means healthcare corporation by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, Walmart. It has grown and grown, but as our little life, but has our life expectancy. No, the reality is these indecipherable have simply gotten too powerful and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space. And frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. Let's marinate on that. He says the problem is more complex than what we see. He don't have the time and the space to try to break it down to us. And not only that, he's not the most qualified person to peel back the layers and lay out the full argument, which tells me, man, who is? Who hipped you to the game? Who brought you in? And at what stage were you brought in just to handle the problem? But many have illuminated the corruption and greed. He says Rosenthal, more, decades ago, and the problem simply remains. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am first. I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. Wow, wow, wow. What are your thoughts?